TGC Requiem, we are back with more Death Shadow Jund. 2-0 in the league so far, 4-2 in games. Looks like we're going to be on the draw yet again. I like this hand well enough. Couple fetches and a bauble plus interaction removal. You know, this isn't the perfect curve, but, you know, we're heavy on ones, so the odds of drawing into ones are pretty high. I think we're good here. Scalding Tarn. Watery Grave, so that puts our opponent off Storm. Thoughtseize. So actually at this point, you know, there were the Grixis decks running Jace a while back, but with Thoughtseize that makes me feel like right off the bat we're against Grixis Shadow. Especially if they take the Terminate, that makes me really think that they're looking to play out some big creatures fast. Maybe Grixis Delver, it's possible. Although I don't think Grixis Delver really plays Thoughtseize. Maybe out of the sideboard. Either way. So I think we just play out of Foothills, and then we're going to bauble. Then we can fetch away the draw if we don't like it. Probably wait till our opponent's turn to... Well, no, we should have probably waited till our opponent's turn. And what did we see? Traverse the Uvenwald. So we probably want to draw that. You gotta be a little more careful with your life total against the Grixis Shadow decks. So I thought he's taken away our Traverse. But you need to be a little more careful because they do have access to the Lightning Bolt. And Snap Lightning Bolt can close out quickly. I think we're probably going to just go get an Overgrown Tomb sideways here. Terminate, I think, is our only red card in the main, so there's really no reason to get anything other than a Overgrown Tomb. Yeah, so that's actually hilarious. So again, this is a playback, and I didn't remember actually doing this, but definitely no reason to get that Blood Crypt with the Terminate in the graveyard already. Oh, that's not true. I apologize. We do have the one Teamer Battle Rage as well. So that's not 100% true. And we do have a couple Death Shadows. Their Death Shadow is going to put it to us pretty soon. So we actually are okay doing that. Opponent's getting a Shadow, big Shadow, nice and quick. Oh man, two. Alright, so our hand is not going to play very well here. We are going to be able to play a couple Death Shadows, so there's no point in blocking here. Basically, we're going to let them put us down to 10. We're going to play out 2 Death Shadows on our turn, and then the hope is when they attack us the next turn, we can block with one of the shadows. I mean, this is like our ideal scenario. I can't imagine this working out quite that well. But they put us to 10. They attack with 2 Shadow the next turn, which threatens lethal. We block one of them, which will allow us to go to 4. And if we go to 4, that would make both of our Death Shadows become 9/9s. And after damage, because our life total is lower, our blocking Death Shadow would live, and then theoretically we could crack back for lethal. So that's kind of what we're playing to here. But you gotta assume the opponent has like a Fatal Push or something, and that's not going to work out quite as cleanly as I'd like it to. Or they're just going to play 3 Death Shadows, and that's worse. Yeah, so I mean, we just have to play out both Death Shadows. The difference here, I guess we're still in the same boat. We basically have to block with the Grim Flayer now as well if they attack with everything. We would block with a Death Shadow and a Grim Flayer, and that would allow us to strike back for lethal on their turn if our opponent doesn't see that. Inquisition. Probably assuming the Tarmogoyf, considering we don't have a third land for Lily. And the opponent clearly sees what we saw, and so they do not attack. Bloodstained Mire. So we could get a swamp, play Liliana, and make our opponent sacrifice a creature. And then that still puts us in a strong position. If they're attacking for 6, that would put us to 3, which still makes their creatures big enough. The risk would be if they're holding a lightning bolt, but they only have 1 card in hand. Makes that risk pretty slim. Though if they had a lightning bolt, they probably would have killed one of our shadows and just attacked with everything. So maybe they're holding... Stubborn Denial. Yep. So not a whole lot we could do there. We're going to have to play into it one way or the other. Probably play this a little quickly without thinking through the Stubborn Denial. But again, we're still in a strong position. They can't attack for lethal without a lightning bolt, right? Well, I guess, yeah, because even if they kill like one of our Death Shadows with a Fatal Push, and they attack with everything, we block 2 of the 3 creatures. That puts us to 3, but our Death Shadow lives through it, and then our Death Shadow swings back for lethal. So we're still fine so long as they don't peel I guess they need removal and a lightning bolt. No, they need... No. If they have a lightning bolt, that's enough, because our play requires us to not block 1 creature, and then they could just lightning bolt us for the difference. They're attacking with everything, so one would assume they've got some removal. So in this case, we attack with, or we block with both Death Shadows, because that's going to make 2 of our Death Shadows into 8/8s. 5/5s actually. Sorry. 3, 2, 4. 11 11s. No, I cannot do my math right. 13 minus 3, 10 10s. But they have a lightning bolt. So they actually lightning bolt themselves, which is funny. So that makes all of their creatures 9 9s. But 9 9s, whether they pointed at us or themselves, it's still lethal. So we lose game 1 there. The Grixis Shadow matchup tends to be a little more favored to Grixis Shadow in my experience. That's part of the reason why I'm actually playing the Terminates and the Lilianas. So we want to be able to play strong in the mirrors, and so again, that's where these Lilianas and the Terminates come into play, because they can kill all the big creatures, whereas like the Abrupt Case Fatal Pushes cannot. So let's look at the sideboard. Will be on the play. We took out 4 Inquisition and 1 Thoughtseize. So in the Death Shadow Jund mirror, we took 4 Thoughtseizes and 1 Inquisition out, leaving the Inquisitions in because the Inquisitions hit everything. Here we go the exact opposite route, keeping 3 Thoughtseize in because we want to be able to go after their Gurmag Anglers and their Tassigers. So that's 5 out. And we took out the Temur Battle Rage, same thing. The matchups just tend to be grindy, and going for a Temur Battle Rage for the win seems risky. So 5 out, and then that would mean that the 5 we left or brought in would be again the 2 Nihil Spell Bombs. In this case, we brought Grafdigger's Cage as well. That's because of Snapcaster Mage. It'll shut down Snapcaster Mage. And then the 2 Liliana, the Last Hope, for the same reason as the previous match. Just we want to throw out a lot. Lilianas are really strong. Liliana the Veil is probably better than Liliana the Last Hope in these mirrors. but they both are very strong and kind of overload their lightning bolts with threats, and we'll just play like a slower, less life loss aggressive game against these decks. I don't know. I feel like this is too risky. On the play, just too many twos probably. We gotta really hope to draw well with this hand. I just can't imagine we're keeping this. Oh, we did. Ballsy. Well, I guess to some extent the flip side of that is these tend to go longer, but I tell you what, if our opponent gets a fast draw, we could just be dead here. Looking back, there's no way I would have kept this. I mean, you only run 18 lands, so you're talking about hitting a land on average in your first 3, but you could easily go five turns without hitting your second land. Easily. So we don't even crack the fetch there. Obviously, we want to keep as many lands in. Oh, we're luck sack. We get lucked out with the forest. So the only thing we can do here is, it's possible from our opponent's perspective that we play out the forest because we don't want to give too much information away or something. I don't know. They probably got to feel like we're pretty tight on mana if this is what we're doing. Opponent just plays land, doesn't do anything. I don't know that I would have cracked that there. Still seems like we could have just waited another turn. Nihil Spellbomb's fine. I think we could just play the Nihil Spellbomb out here, and, well, I mean, I guess we could also just play a Tarmogoyf. It's a 1/2. It dies at Lightning Bolt. That seems bad. But we got to push through our opponent's removal eventually. Maybe we play at the Grim Flayer and hope to bait the removal on the Flayer. And we go for the Tarmogoyf. Yeah, Fatal Push. So the one thing we do, I would say, I think looking back, I would probably have played the Grim Flayer over the Tarmogoyf. Grim Flayer, though, when you get an empty board, once you've kind of worked through the cards and you're sitting in that top deck war, Grim Flayer is amazing. And so having it late is totally like a legitimate play. I feel like it's just too early to be playing to that. Too many things could happen, hand disruption, etc., to make that playing towards the Flayer kind of weak. Although it is also the sideboard. Well, Tarmogoyf can get a little bit weaker if they play like Nihil Spellbombs of their own. Liliana, the Last Hope. So nothing to do here but uptick unless they want to start down ticking, which doesn't look like they do. So we're sitting on an Abrupt Decay. No real rush to use it until they try and go after our hand. The Verdant Catacombs is actually a really good draw here, so this actually allows us to play out the Nihil Spellbomb, and then if necessary, use the Abrupt Decay on the Liliana in response to like a hand disruption spell. So we're going to just do this all while our opponent's tapped out. Oh, I suppose that makes sense, right? So we can also just play the Liliana out. So our opponent, the reason we would do this, and this is a little risky now, but if we play the Liliana out here, let me think. We're going to uptick to 4. They go to 5. We go to 5. They go to 6. We go to 6. They go to 7. Yeah. We can ultimate a turn faster than them, but if they choose to keep their Liliana, we're still probably not able to beat a zombie army. But I think because we have so many more creatures in hand, plus the Abrupt Decay, and then the fact that they did not go after our hand with hand disruption the previous turn, it's not safe, but we're slightly insulated against that. and we should be able to pressure them a little bit. So I think we're okay with the Liliana. Over the long run, it definitely offers us a lot more potential advantage. Discarding a card. Probably going to discard Fatal Push here. The opponent's not in position to do a Death Shadow yet. And it doesn't kill any of their Delve creatures. Opponent discards a Steam Vents. And again, we're just not worried about Liliana's uptick yet because we have an Abrupt Decay in hand. So here it looks like a clean uptick into discarding Liliana. And then that turns our Grim Flayer on, so maybe we play a Grim Flayer here, thinking that, again, they didn't Hand Disruption us last turn. We have one more turn with the Abrupt Decay. Though it seems risky, yeah. I'm just going to play it safe, make sure we can kill the Liliana here if they go for the Hand Disruption, especially with our Liliana all the way up to 5. We actually have a full another turn we could have waited. But yeah, we're just going to get rid of the Liliana now. In response, they're going to Kolaghan's Command, doing 2 damage to us, probably redirect it to Liliana and destroy the Heal Spellbomb. So there's no point in not blowing up their graveyard. We do lose the ability to draw off of it, but that still could be worse. And yeah, they definitely redirected the damage to Liliana. We kill their Liliana. We're still sitting strong with a 3 loyalty Liliana, 2 Tarmogoyfs and a Grim Flayer. Yep, Tarmogoyf's got closing speed now. And we're kind of at that point where I had mentioned earlier that Grim Flayer, if we get into complete top deck mode, Grim Flayer really helps us set our draws. But our opponent really, with their life total, is going to need Delve creatures to stop Tarmogoyf. And right now they could cast one at the cost of their entire graveyard. So I could see either way. I think I pitched the Grim Flayer, but I think actually it would make more sense. I don't know. They both make sense. Grim Flayer would really be pretty good if our opponent did not have removal. Tarmogoyf can just close so fast, though, and it's bigger than anything they can put in front of us. Thoughtseize, so we can just uptick here. So we actually are going to go Thoughtseize, Tarmogoyf, uptick. That makes a lot of sense. Opponent dismembers the Tarmogoyf. It's not going to kill the Tarmogoyf, but just maybe it was a free spell for them to cast. They didn't have to spend any life. Buys them. It's kind of like a fog effect. Tarmogoyf does get a little bigger because of it. We play the second Tarmogoyf. They had just a Delta left in hand. So we are looking strong. We're looking to attack for 12 next turn. Even if they play out a creature at this point, we're just going to make them sack it. Uptick. The opponent didn't concede, so they must have a removal spell. Yep, terminate one of the Tarmogoyfs. But we're still in such a strong position here. Even if they draw like a creature, I guess the only thing that they could draw to keep themselves alive at this point is a removal spell, and then at that point Liliana is just like, this game's pretty much over anyway. Yeah, so the opponent just concedes there. Alright, so that makes us 1-1 in the match. And let's switch over to the third game. So we were on the play before. On the draw, Let's see if I do anything different with the sideboard. It's possible that I adjusted the hand disruption suite a little bit. Yeah, so I took one more Thoughtseize out, and I brought the Grafdigger's Cage out. I brought one Collective Brutality in, so that's more of a, you know, it's reach if the game gets low, but also a lot of times with those, like you might be banging 4/5 Tassiger against a 4/5 Tarmogoyf, and so Collective Brutality can sometimes swing that a little bit. And so if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we brought in the Brutality, the Terminate, we brought in the Abrupt Decay because of the Liliana. So Collective Brutality, Terminate, Abrupt Decay, Liliana the Last Hope, Liliana the Last Hope. I say Nihil Spellbomb, Nihil Spellbomb. Sorry, I gotta look at the deck list here. Brought in the 2 Nihils, 1 Collective, 1 Terminate, 1 Abrupt Decay, 2 Lilianas. So 7 cards. Oh yeah, because we also, so it was these 6 that were pulled out plus the 1 Battle Rage. That makes sense. Unfortunately, unkeepable hand here. So we actually keep this hand, totally reasonable, and we get a Fatal Push on top, which is fine. And again, this is just totally reasonable because, again, we're probably looking at a longer game. Nihil Spellbomb is really good against their Delve creatures. Looks like we're going to get a turn 1 Thoughtseize. Takes a Tarmogoyf, absolutely. One thing you really have to be worried about in this matchup is if the opponent brings in like Surgical Extractions, they hit that opening Tarmogoyf, then they could Surgical Extract it and rip the other one out of hand. Probably yet another reason why I maybe should have pitched the Tarmogoyf in the previous game and kept the Grim Flare. And then we're just going to run out this Nihil Spellbomb right away. Mana efficient, and we absolutely have no real worry about it getting destroyed. Not till they get to 3 mana with their Kolaghan's Command. Opponent's looking to get a quick Shadow down, but we're sitting on a Fatal Push. Oh man, they put themselves all the way down to 6. Yeah, thank goodness we have that Fatal Push there. Oh, we drew another one. That's even better. So what we're going to do here, we're going to Fatal Push this, but then we're also going to probably just immediately blow up the Nihil Spellbomb and draw, because there are plenty of creatures there for the opponent to delve out a Tassiger or a Gurmag Angler. And we want to kill that right away. Liliana, pretty good draw. Definitely need another land though. Maybe we can draw into one off the Street Wraith. Liliana the Last Hope. Downtick's looking for a creature and doesn't get one. So I think that they upticked. It doesn't necessarily change a whole lot, but Tarmogoyf might have been able to race an uptick. Definitely going to be able to race a downtick, so we almost don't care about the Liliana right now. Obviously, and I bet the downtick indicates that they are holding a Delve creature, and that Nihil Spellbomb was very timely. And I apologize if it's kind of loud. I have the neighbor out mowing their backyard. So yeah, so we're just going to jam this. Probably cycle the Street Wraith, try and get the land. Maybe one more time. Traverse. Okay, that's fine. So we're in a position where we have lethal on board. Liliana has to uptick anyway. Definitely going to go at the Tarmogoyf, which means we're one shy of lethal. But we can also just jam out another Tarmogoyf. Okay, now we have lethal. I'm going to play out a creature. Thoughtseize. So they go for the Liliana, which means, so they're probably going to play out a Delve creature here, and they just need to make sure it lives, basically. And if we drew into a land, it wouldn't. Okay. So on the flip side of this, or I guess the plus side, we can just play another Tarmogoyf if we don't have to attack into the Gurmag Angler. And then the next turn, the Gurmag Angler has to chump block. And if we can get to a land next turn, Liliana gets us there as well. So the opponent down ticks again, so they must be holding on to maybe another Delve creature at this point. Or maybe they needed to hit a Delve creature. Maybe their only out was to hit like a Tasigur there. And they miss it, and so they concede. And so this game actually went pretty quickly. A lot of times they're a lot grindier than this, but I feel like this is exactly why I'm playing the build I'm playing. The 4 Lilianas, the extra threats with the Grim Flayer, playing the Terminates, not playing the Fulminator Mages. And again, the big thing with not playing the Fulminator Mages is not because they wouldn't be good in this matchup, but because we want to be good in this matchup naturally and have the ability to use Temur Battle Rage, go get Temur Battle Rages for the combo decks. And so, again, I feel like these two matchups are great examples of why I like this 4 Liliana of the Veil, almost quasi more natural Death Shadow Jund, or more natural BGX version. Again, we're not playing any Tarfires, we're not playing Kolaghan's Command. Not to say that those cards don't offer value. We're only playing the one Temur Battle Rage because we're not playing the Tarfire to make our Tarmogoyf super huge. We're not playing the Kolaghan's Commands, not because they're a bad card, but they're similar to Temur Battle Rage, really only good in certain matchups. And so we're just playing more naturally good cards, which allows us to play a lot of these matchups more straight up. And then where we know we need to be racing, we have access to the Temur Battle Rages. The other card that I made room for is there's been a lot of like movement towards the go wide decks in general, which makes me feel like the Anger of the Gods have been warranted or warranted here. So anyway, we'll be back for the next match shortly. Maybe we'll have another Shadow Mirror.